Hi everyone, and welcome back to YouTube SEO Ninja. My name is Tristan, and if this is your first time here, we're glad to have you. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I gotta say that at the beginning of the videos. And just to help with a little bit of promotion, then in the comment section of this video, I'd like you guys to share a link to your course, and then also give us a quick description of what it's about, what it is that you're teaching, and who it is that you're trying to reach. Just so that way other people who are watching this video have a chance to learn a little bit more about you and your course, and then, maybe we can help send you some extra clients. This is what we're talking about today, Thinkific SEO. Now, I really like Thinkific. This is a great platform. We've built 2 courses on here. We're working on a 3rd right now, and we just really like it. It's fast, it's easy to use, it's actually pretty good for SEO. And so in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do some SEO for your sites. This is everything that we're going to cover right over here. So we're going to talk about what SEO is, how it works, and then we're going to talk about keyword research. We're going to talk a little bit about sales funnels. We're going to take that information and actually apply it to this site, and then talk about how long it takes, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about our Thinkific course, which is this right here. So one of the things that we've been wanting to mess around with is start releasing mini courses on the platform. And the reason why is because everything that we'd want to cover for this video, for this tutorial, it's about 30 videos, 29 videos, and that's too much. YouTube probably wouldn't appreciate me uploading that many videos, and then the actual amount of traffic that we get for some of these videos, it's not very high. And so what you're thinking doing is, hey, why not take all of this information, why not take all these videos and put them into a Thinkific course? So the way that we do courses is that we start off with the beta group. We give them a pretty significant discount on the course overall. You get full access to the course once it's up and live and everything. And that lets us get feedback, and it lets us make some adjustments to the course and make sure that we're answering all the questions and doing it in the clearest and most effective way possible. And so we really like doing this particular approach to launching our courses. And then as soon as the course goes live, then the price goes up, and then we are usually pretty happy with it. There's still some additional support to that, and like there'll be a Facebook group and that kind of thing. But for the time being, what we're looking at is $15 for this. I think once it goes live, we're going to charge $25. So if you want to get on the discount, this is how you do it. Chapter 1 is finished, and I'm about halfway finished with chapter 2. And then I'm going to be recording 3 and 4 and maybe 5 like today and tomorrow. So this is going to be done here pretty quick. So if you want to come and check that out, you certainly can. Now, that being said, let me go back to my drawing because this explains how SEO works and what it is. If you already know about the basics of SEO and you're just looking for implementation, then check out the timestamps in the description. The first question is, what is SEO and how do we take advantage of it? So the goal behind SEO is simply to help Google to understand what our content is about and to gain authority in Google's eyes, so that way they promote us to more people, and they promote us to more people by ranking us higher in search. So if you want to know where you rank for a keyword in Google, then what you want to do is open up an incognito window and then do your search. And you're going to search for whatever keyword it is that you're trying to rank for, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But for example, my course, the last course that I published, was on proximity marketing, which is a subject I am very passionate about. And first, you want to cut out the ads because ads are just paid traffic. Those don't count. But out of 30,500,000 people, Udemy is still number 1. That makes me very upset. But here is my Thinkific course by Triston Goodwin. Same thing if you search for training. There I am again. And you'll also notice that I rank videos on here. So this is actually me, and this is me as well. Now, I don't plan to cover YouTube SEO in this course. Actually, I don't have any courses on it, but if that's something you guys are interested in learning more about, let me know, and we'll see if we can do that too. You can do a lot of really neat stuff with YouTube in order to generate traffic for your business and for your course. But like I said, we'll talk about that at a different time. So that's kind of the goal behind SEO. Now, the parts of SEO break into 2 very large and general groups. You have what's called on-page SEO, which is, again, where we're helping Google to understand specific content, and then we're also targeting the keywords that we want to rank for. And then we have something called off-page SEO, which is where we're building authority, trust, and association with similar websites. So it breaks down like this. On-page SEO is basically the website itself, okay? The first thing that we look at is going to be the URL, which we have right here. In this case, we're going to be building a course on My Little Pony. Now, the first thing that we're going to look at is going to be the domain name of the site. Now, because we're using the free Thinkific account, then our domain is going to be a subdomain of Thinkific, okay? So this right here is the domain, thinkific.com, and a subdomain is mylittlepony.thinkific.com. And this is an easy place for you to start adding your keywords to your website and start telling Google what your website is about. Another way you can do this is to include it as an inner page. So in this case, we're going to have mylittlepony.thinkific.com/MLP-fun-facts. This is going to be the inner page. It's a page on that website. Okay? And so the first place you're going to start is your URL. You want to make sure you're using that keyword in your URL whenever possible. Now, it is possible to over-optimize a keyword. Shouldn't be an issue with what we're doing, but that is a possibility. Next, we want to talk about what's actually on the page itself. Now, a website is broken into different parts, and those different parts are separated by header tags. The main concept of your site, or of the page itself, should be your first header tag. It's your header 1 or your H1 tag. And that's this right here. You want to make sure that you're using your primary keyword. I've tried to underline every time the keyword shows up. So you want to make sure you're using that primary keyword in your H1 tag. And then below that, you're going to have supporting text. And so in this case, this is my supporting text. And here's My Little Pony. Here's a variation of the keyword, which is MLP, and then the keyword again. And then we have some other additional supporting text and so on. And then the next section of your website would be an H2. So you can kind of think of it like a hierarchy. So your H1 is the overall message or keyword that you're trying to rank for. This is like the big thing. This is the subject of the page. And then your H2s, for example, are going to be a subsegment. Now, this is all handled automatically by Thinkific, so you don't really have to mess around with it or worry about it. But when you're setting up the titles of your pages, then you want to make sure that you're using those keywords and you're using supporting keywords or variations of the keywords. You don't want to do it with every single one of them, but you do want to make sure you have it in there at least a couple of times. And then, again, try to use the keyword on the site wherever it makes sense, okay? The other thing that you can do is with the images that you have on your website, you can add in something called alt text. Now, what this does is actually pretty cool. So for people who are visually impaired, then a lot of times they'll use a screen reader to navigate the internet, right? And then that screen reader will basically go through and say, okay, this is all the text. I'm going to read the text, and it reads it out loud. But when it comes to a picture, the screen reader can't read the picture, right? And so instead, it looks for something called the alt text, which is basically a description of what's in that image that's in there for the screen readers. So in this case, it's going to say, image, alt text, My Little Pony friendship is magic. Okay, it's describing that image. Now, this is another place where you can add in keywords while not visible to a normal reader, is still visible to the Google robots. It's visible in the code. And so it's very helpful to do that. And that's really the basics of your on-page SEO. Make sure you're using your keywords in your headers. Make sure you're using the keywords in the text itself. Make sure that you are optimizing your images, and make sure that your domain names and the title pages and things like that are consistent, and also include your keywords. And that's pretty much it for the on-page SEO. It's pretty simple, and I'm going to show you guys how to apply this here in just a little bit, but that's the basics of it. Now, off-page SEO is a little bit more complicated. So let's say this is website 1, right? This one's going to be website number 2. And I think the simplest way to explain what off-page SEO is to think of it like high school, okay? When you go to high school, then you are presented with several different groups that you can associate yourself with. You have the jocks, you have the nerds, you have the other people, and the group that you decide to spend time with is the group that you eventually become associated with, okay? The same thing happens with a website. If you have a website about My Little Pony and you start getting backlinks from motorcycle websites, then there's no real association, there's no real relationship between those. And so your on-page SEO is then going to conflict with the on-page SEO of that site that's giving you a backlink. And so it confuses the Google robots, and it ends up not helping you to rank. Now, a backlink in and of itself is really, really simple. You go to this other website, and you have a text that you can click on, which in this case is just going to be the My Little Pony. If you click on this, it takes you back to this website. So it's a link from one website to another, specifically from someone else's website to your website. That's a backlink. And so what this will do is if any backlinks that this website has, any authority that this website has, isn't going to be passed over to this website. They share it. And so like this one doesn't lose any authority, but this one gains authority. And just for future reference, the actual clickable text, so in this case, the My Little Pony, this is the thing we'd click on. Let's highlight that in a different color real quick. this right here, this clickable text is called the anchor text. Okay, so if you ever see somebody talking about what anchor text you want or anchor text ratios, this is what they're referring to. And this is another very key indicator to the Google robots that this website is about that specific keyword, because that's what other websites are calling it. And that's really the basics of off-page SEO. Really the goal of this is to go out and find related websites, or websites that are in a similar niche as your own, or in this case, other websites that are in a similar niche as your course, and have them link back to your website and have them create those backlinks. And there are some easy ways to do this, there are some hard ways to do this, but that's basically the idea behind it. Now, one quick disclaimer here is that Google's terms of service are very, 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 very strict. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean that they always enforce those terms of service, but the wording is very specific. It says that anything you do to intentionally manipulate your rankings within Google search, is against the terms of service. So, on a very strict point of view, that can include making a website, because if you're making a website, you're intentionally trying to rank higher, and that means that you are intentionally trying to manipulate your rankings. Because if you don't have a website, you're not ranking, and so that's, you can kind of see where I'm going with this. Now, what they say is that they don't want us to go out and to just purchase backlinks, right? They want the quality of the content to be very high, and they want that to kind of happen organically. Now, that being said, typically speaking, if you purchase backlinks, then you're not going to get into any trouble. Now, there are ways that you can do this, and there are ways that you probably shouldn't do this. So, for example, if you know somebody like a blogger who happens to be in your space, and if you ask them to write an article for you about or mention your website in one of their articles, then they say, hey, sure, I'll do it, but send me $50. That's, you're not going to get in trouble for something like that. And you can kind of think of it like, okay, I'm not buying the link per se, I'm buying the shout out, I'm buying being mentioned, and the link is just a natural part of that. So you can do things like that. And then there are also link brokers. There are other SEOs who manage multiple websites with high authority in specific categories, and then you can buy article placements or mentions in the articles on their websites that of course serve as a backlink. So it's kind of a little bit of a gray area, and as long as you kind of stay within that gray area, then like I said, you're not going to run into any problems. But if you go out and buy 10,000 backlinks for a brand new website, then you're probably going to get penalized, and that's a pain in the keister, so don't do that, is the SEO process. So now that we kind of know what it is that we need to do, let's go ahead and start talking about how we actually do it. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to look at some keywords. And my favorite keyword research tool in the entire world is keywfinder.com. I have a link to this in the description. It is an affiliate link. You don't have to use it, but if you do, it's really helpful for us. I think we make like $3 every time somebody signs up. This is a paid tool, but it does have a free version where you can do a few searches a month. It's really, really helpful, and you'll be able to see why here in just a second. So I put in the keyword My Little Ponies tutorial because it actually has traffic, and it's actually pretty competitive, which is kind of crazy to me. So My Little Pony tutorial has 50 searches a month, and out of a score between 1 and 100, it ranks as a 41. And the way that I kind of think about this is for every point in the difficulty score, you're looking at spending somewhere between $10, $20 to $100 in order to move up a point or to make your site or your blog or your course, in this example, more competitive and stronger. So you could rank for this keyword if you really wanted to, but it's going to be pretty expensive because you're going to need a lot of backlinks. But let's take a look at some other keywords real quick, just so you guys have an idea of how this works. Let's say you want to look for Triston Goodwin, who is the sexiest SEO in the universe. No searches a month. Well, that sucks. It's ranked as a 23, which is pretty good. You can see my YouTube videos. You can see one of my websites. You can see my Twitter. You can see my LinkedIn, my Facebook. And then you can see my business. You can see another business thing. These are the pages that are ranking for my name. You can see there's no traffic for that. If we search for proximity marketing, which was the keyword of my previous course, well, that one has 3,600 searches a month. This number is giving you the average number of searches over the past 12 months. We can see the cost per click for that. So if you were to do paid ads, then every click is going to cost you $4.34. You can see that the competition for the paid traffic it's pretty high. It says 46, and your overall difficulty for this is going to be a 34. Over here you can see how the search traffic has trended over the past 12 months. And so this time last year there's about 2,400 searches a month, and then just this past month there were 3,600. So traffic is obviously going up. That's good. We like it when that happens. And then again, these are the pages that are ranking for that specific keyword. And you can also see how strong these other websites are. So the link profile strength is basically a summary of these numbers right here. And these numbers are really complicated. I actually go into this in the course, so if you want to check that out and learn more about that, then that's where you want to go. And then over here, the EV, this is the estimated number of visits per month. So they think that the Wikipedia article gets about 900 searches a month. Next one up, Beacon Stack. I like these guys. They get about 500, about 300, and so on. So the higher you rank, the more traffic you should get. So the question then becomes, which keyword should we go after? How do we pick our keywords? And I think the easiest way to determine what makes a good keyword and what makes a bad keyword really starts back over here. So this is a sales funnel, and I really like this image, and I use it all the time, and I don't own it, so I have to show it here in Google. And they say that basically any purchase is broken down into 4 different steps. First, you need to become aware of the product or service. In this case, you need to become aware of the course. You need to learn that it exists. Then the buyer needs to make the decision to purchase the course, and then the buyer actually performs the action. They actually buy the course. And what's interesting about this is that your keywords can actually fall into these same 4 categories. So for example, I have my course on My Little Pony. If I wanted to target an awareness keyword, then I'd probably go after a keyword that would be much more broad, much more general, and it'd be something like top 5 My Little Pony training things, or top 5 My Little Pony websites that you should know about, something like that. And then from there, we'd be able to generate awareness of our course, because they're not specifically looking for our course at this point. We just want them to know that it exists. A keyword that denotes interest would be something like best My Little Pony course, or best website builder, or best online course builder, right? And then once you've reached a certain level of interest, you're going to decide, all right, I do want to go ahead and buy some course. I don't know which course I want to buy yet, but I do want to buy a course. And so that's when you're going to start looking for things like My Little Pony course reviews, or My Little Pony course examples, or something like that. And then when they're finally ready to purchase the course, that's going to be something like buy online courses. Or one of my favorite ones is My Little Pony course coupons, things like that. Because now they've decided to buy, we're just trying to facilitate that purchase. Because at this point, they've decided to make the purchase, we're just trying to facilitate that purchase. And we want them to purchase from us instead of somebody else. So when you are trying to pick your keywords, when you're doing your keyword research, then you're going to want to look and see where the buyer is in this funnel, okay? And then, of course, your keywords would reflect that. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that the more specific, the more action-oriented, or the further down the funnel the person is, or the keyword is, the less traffic there's going to be. Now, My Little Pony gets millions of searches a month, right? My Little Pony tutorial gets 50. But the people who are looking for My Little Pony tutorial are going to be much, much closer to taking this action than somebody who's just looking for My Little Pony. And so don't be turned off by lower numbers. Just realize where that keyword lies in this funnel, and then determine whether or not it's worth going after. Now, once you've decided on your keywords, and once you have gone through this funnel process and figured out, who you want to target, how you want to target them, and so on, it's time to take this information. It's time to apply it to our Thinkific course. And to do this, there are 3 different places that we want to work on within Thinkific itself. Now, 30 minutes into recording this video, we're just now getting into Thinkific. Holy bananas. So, the first place that we want to go is to settings. And the first thing that we're going to do here is the very first thing we talked about over here. We're going to set up our domain, and then we're also going to set up the name of the website. So, site name, and then the site address, that's the domain. You can change that by updating it right here. Make sure you're using your keywords. I'm actually targeting the keyword Utah SEO because there's a lot of traffic for that. So Utah SEO ninja.thinkific.com. The other thing you want to do, make sure your SSL certificate is turned on. This is free and it is vitally important. I'm not going to bore you with what it is, just know that you want to make sure that's turned on. Next thing you want to do is you want to go to Manage Your Learning Content, go to Courses. I'll go ahead and take a look at the Thinkific SEO course. Settings. And here you can do the same thing. Course name, course URL, and then over here under course image and description, same thing. This will be picked up by Google, and this is how they will display the information about your course in the search results. So that part is very important. You want to make sure that this is optimized for your keywords. And so we're going to be talking about Thinkific in this one. And it probably actually wouldn't hurt to put Thinkific SEO course like that. So I need to rewrite that a little bit just to make it sound a little bit more natural. So I'll take care of that off screen. The next place that you want to go to is your site design, site builder. And you'll want to go through the same process for your homepage and then also for the individual course pages. Now, this requires a little bit more SEO. I've just started working on this and it needs some help. But the main keyword that you want to target with your course is going to go right here. Now, this particular site, I'm planning to do a lot of different kinds of courses on here. So like basically any video that I have here on the YouTube channel or set of tutorials that I'd like to do that have a lot of other stuff that needs to be mentioned or a lot of other videos, and I don't want to do 40 videos and put them all up on YouTube, then they're all pretty much end up in here. So I plan to cover things like Adobe Spark and Google Sites and a whole bunch of other things, and so I want this to be a little bit more generic. I know people are looking for my name specifically, even though you couldn't see it over here in the keyword finder. But I'm being told that people are looking for me specifically. This is really more of a branding question than anything else. And then, of course, UT SEO is going to be right here. And then my text. So let's go back to the drawing real quick. If we want to target the keyword My Little Pony, let's actually switch to red. My Little Pony. Then again, we want to make sure that it's in our domain. We want to make sure that we're using it as the name of our course pages. And then we want to make sure that we're actually using it on the page to describe what our website's about. And then, of course, any variations or supporting keywords that we can include. Also, make sure you're optimizing your images. And a cool thing you guys can play around with is Google Cloud Vision. I'll leave a link to this in the description. I'll also leave a link to another tutorial that I made on this. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to start looking at backlinks. And again, there's a couple different ways that you can go about this. I personally think that the two safest ways to do this is first to reach out to anybody who's already in your niche, who's already in your category, and look at doing some sort of a link exchange. I'll post a link to your blog if you post a link to my blog or to my course or whatever, and then just like sharing it in like Facebook and Twitter. Sometimes people will mention those in their own websites, like a news roundup or an article roundup. That happens a lot as well. Any sort of communities or forums where link sharing is allowed and not considered spammy, that's an option as well. But if you plan to go out and start buying backlinks from like backlink providers or backlink brokers, that's when I suggest that you hire an SEO, because they can go in, they can evaluate those domains, they can make sure that everything's being done correctly, make sure that you're not over optimizing for a keyword, and that you're not going to get any kind of penalty. So if you guys need help with that, just shoot me an email. I'd be happy to take a look. I have some recommendations for that as well. I've got some colleagues who do really, really good work. Not cheap, but they do really, really good work. All right, and then the last and most important question is, how long does all of this actually take? Like, how long does it take for Google to recognize that you've made these changes? How long does it take for them to scan your website? How long does it take for them to find a backlink? And the honest and short answer is that it depends. Typically what you'll do is, as soon as your website is finished and you have all your text in your on-page optimization completed, then you will want to submit that domain. You'll submit your website to Google, either through Google Search Console or through some other sort of indexing service. And when you do it that way, then typically it takes about 48 hours to a few days, maybe a week. And you can tell if your site's been indexed. What you want to do is you want to select the domain name. So in this case, it's utseo.ninja.thinkific.com. And you're going to want to do a search. Type in site dash and then the URL and then the domain. And so my domain, my website, has not been indexed yet. Google does not know this exists. Now I can go in and tell Google to index this site, and I can do that, like I said, through my search console right here. And then that's how I start that process. You can also use the same tool to find out if one of your backlinks has been indexed. So if you have reached out to a blogger and they said they're going to add a link from their blog to your website or to your course, and you want to see if that link has taken effect yet, or see if that link is being processed, then you can do the exact same thing. Just make sure to remove the www and all the stuff that goes before that. It's just the domain.com/whatever. And that's how you can tell if Google has started that process. After that, usually it takes about 2, 3, 4, sometimes even up to 8 weeks for the index to update, or for the rankings to change, or to start seeing changes in your rankings. Sometimes it's a lot faster than that. Sometimes you can see them like almost immediately. Sometimes it takes a while. It's just a question of patience and letting the Google robots do whatever it is that they do. Now, my recommendation is, while you're waiting for that to happen, to start running some paid ads for your website. And I actually have a video that I just released, and I thought it was a really good video, but people aren't watching it. I have a really good video on how we're running paid ads, and then also how we're taking advantage of remarketing tools to make our ads more effective, to get more money from the ad spend that we're spending. So I will leave a link to that. You'll probably be seeing it over here at the end screens. I'm assuming I'm at the end of this video. I've been recording for over 40 minutes, but that will give you some really good advice as far as driving the initial traffic to your website. And again, if you'd like a much more in-depth look at how all of this works, then come sign up for the beta test for our Thinkific SEO course. We're going to go into a lot more detail of the things that we've covered so far: your research phase, your on-page SEO, your off-page SEO. Then we're also going to talk about how to install your remarketing stuff. Then we're going to talk about the paid traffic. And then finally, I'm going to share some of my favorite tools for doing the SEO, and then also for creating the content for my site and for my course. And then some of my favorite little things down here, so like Google Alerts, Google Trends. This is for in-person marketing, like taking advantage of all your remarketing pixels and stuff from your website, but doing it in person, which is really cool. So if you're interested in that, links to this is going to be in the description. I'll also pin it to the top of the comments so you guys can find it. And I think that'll do it for me. My name's Tristan from SEO.ninja. Hope this video has been helpful. I'm going to spend the next 4 hours editing this thing. And just to help with a little bit of promotion, then in the comment section of this video, I'd like you guys to share a link to your course, and then also give us a quick description of what it's about, what it is that you're teaching, and who it is that you're trying to reach. Just that way other people who are watching this video have a chance to learn a little bit more about you and your course, and then, maybe we can help send you some extra clients. But that'll do it for me. My name's Tristan from SEO Ninja. Have yourselves an excellent weekend, and I will see you guys again promptly. Bye.